And on the right side of the map, I have to switch those people over. We have Farsite as the Ottomans. On the left side of the map, we have Jabroni as Tim, wouldn't you guess? A very underpicked civ in the current meta of the English.
Yeah, it seems like English is doing English things and colonizing not only the ladder, but our tournament. And there's a very hefty English presence in the semifinals. Now, I've seen Jabroni in some of these tournaments before, has played as the English, so I know English is one of his bread and butter civs. So let's see how he actually performs against an Ottoman player, Farsite, who I don't think we've seen before.
Yeah, we haven't seen Farsite. I know we've done Jabroni for sure. At least I have. But yeah, I don't think we've seen Farsite before. And like you said, you don't know if he's even done any other tournaments. So it might be his first run through and doing pretty good. No stone, so they're not doing the Imperial or not what's the name of it, Tim? The Ottoman barracks that gives you stuff for free.
Military school.
Military school. That's the one. Thank you. We're fine here, guys. Yeah, no military school, which I like. As the Ottomans into the English, you're not doing that. The English not doing anything funky with early farms or nothing like that. Just going straight up to feudal age.
Mm-hmm. Yep, a little bit of a difference that we saw in our last English Ottomans matchup. We saw the English player going into farms pretty early, things like that. And actually the Ottoman player did... Is that scout going to go down? Wow, 7 health. But we saw the Ottoman player going for military school first against the English player. Yep. Where not many people do. It's not very a meta decision to go military school instead. So now that Farsite is not doing that, let's see how he's able to match up against maybe some kind of feudal English units. Maybe English goes full boom into multiple town centers and then a king's palace. I'm not really sure, but all I know is I'm here for it.
Council Hall up on the kind of backside of the hill. I don't know. I mean, I guess he just wanted to use the guys and not have them walk a long ways. But I guess if you are planning on going back on gold, I suppose. But I don't know about this in particular. Because normally you want it... I guess it's away from the base so you're not interrupting farms. But it's kind of... I don't know. It just feels like a weird spot to me. But
well,
not super harmful.
It seems as though with that Council Hall going up, that Jabar is going like full on 100% feudal aggression. Like, he doesn't even want to take any of his villagers away from food, mostly because of the build order that he's going for right now and how many on wood getting straggler trees.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have, based on the build that he's doing, he wouldn't have the necessary villagers to continue on food, which you usually pull up to get Council Hall, so he chooses the gold instead.
Yeah, what I do like is this bad boy here. Right smacked against it. Gonna get those berries right here and right here. Insta drop off into this thing, but perfectly protected by the town center. So you get that super, super safe food. And against the English, I really like it. Even went with an early outpost on the gold. Super concerned about those longbowmen. Maybe he knows a thing or two about some of his games earlier against Jabar, you know?
I mean, it could be a little bit of that. It could be doing a good job of scouting. Also, you know, he might be thinking, oh, the Council Hall went up pretty quick. He's not going for that, you know, castle age, early castle age that the English like to go to. So maybe he's thinking more aggression, puts an outpost there instead. But we're seeing Jabar not really doing much in the way of that aggression style because of how much he has on wood. And then he's starting to put some on stone. I'm postulating there might be a second town center in play.
Yeah, could be. And I think, you know, maybe this is the recently subscribed Whammon strategy where you do 2 TCs into some pressure, although not queuing up any, so maybe just going 2 TCs. But yeah, would be curious as to kind of what Jabar's plan is into the Ottomans, because if you aren't harassing them, they're gonna, I mean, as we saw in a previous matchup like this, the Ottomans can bring it to the English, like tenfold, smash you into your face. Oh, maybe Ottomans thinking about some trade, possibly. I don't know why else you'd ever put a wall here.
I would lose my mind if we actually in this even though this is a trade heavy meta, we have not seen trade yet.
We have
all the live games that we have.
Oh, Longbowman. It's close. So he has one coming out. There's two. I don't see a barracks out, so Ottomans could drop a stable, or even just finally drop that military school if they wanted to. And although now they're walling in this backside, so now I'm not really sure what's happening. At any rate, Farsite has something in mind. This is intentional walling, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. Walling on the front makes a little more sense. But yeah, has just a buttload of people. Looks to maybe going for an Ottoman fast castle. Doesn't have any of those military schools cranking yet. Doesn't have enough stone for it at all. I guess his stone is a mile away, but still.
Yeah, there's a potentiality of that to happen, just because of the food and the gold surplus that he's doing. You know, he's got no. Doesn't look like he's got any villagers on wood right now.
No, no.
Based on what I'm seeing, 15 on food, 4 on gold. So he might be trying to push into that. Jabar, however, I'm seeing a little bit of a macro issue out of him because he had enough wood for a town center for a long time and kept his TC rally point on stone for a while just to get that 5. But it's going to create a little error, and this town center is going to go up probably about, I'd say, 45 seconds to a minute too late. But that's 3 vills he could have had.
Yeah. And I am curious as to what, I don't know what's going on here. Farsite's going to get housed if he's not careful, and that's my concern, is that he had to run from the Longbowman, which I understand. But it'll be close. This feels like something that's almost been practiced. Because he didn't have any on wood literally at all. Looks like he got the one tree, and then he built exactly enough walls to use his wood, and then, ooh, does he lose it? Oh, wow. 2 health. Yeah, this feels like it's something that's practiced, because now he's, like, switching, like, to a ton on wood, after this fast castle thing to start getting some of that production now. So, an Ottoman fast castle, not something we usually see when it comes to the Ottomans.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure, just because there's no production buildings here. It's not like military schools are churning out units or any of that kind of stuff. Once he hits castle, it takes a while. It's going to take a while for Farsite to actually get the production and establish a presence once you hit castle age. So I'm curious to see when Farsite does hit castle, does Jabar respond? Because he's going super eco himself. That second town center on the west side, the first establishment of the basin that we're seeing, is right on top of a boar.
Yeah, English boar hunting, known. Heard the ding come through. Bing bong. Bing bong, here's your vizier point. Archers trying to get some funny business done, but they're not going to be able to, especially with the arrow slits coming in, they're going to be pushed off pretty hard. These little walls are kind of funny, because he has, just like the sides. And so he, wants him to come through, this funnel point and this funnel point. So I'm curious to see kind of how this plays out in the long term, kind of what his long-term plan is. We got the Mehmed Imperial Armory coming out. Going to start getting some of that free siege right off the bat, and those will be his first units of the game is some siege.
Mm-hmm. Now, with these little tunnels that you said here, why he chose not to wall those areas. One, I mean, probably for Farsite, maybe not enough wood to do so initially, because we did see he had the wood. Yeah. But secondly, think about where these things are funneling into. It's fun. You got to funnel right into that arrow slit outpost. The second one's going to funnel right into a TC. Mm-hmm. So he saved a little wood doing that, and I think he'll still be able to hold some defensive, some defensive prowess if he leaves those open.
Yeah, does have to be careful here though. Yep, does run to the other side, but will be pushed off of this stable. Yeah, good little micro. He's just going to run it back. I guess they can't quite reach. They'd have to swing around to this far side. Oh, one more shot. Low health. Oh man, he got it. Is likely going massive mangonels, Mark 2.0 says. This is really smart. He knows how his opponent is playing. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, is maybe this was a specific read. But does have the knight coming out and is going to start cranking out those mangonels with that knight, and that's going to put a stop to the English aggression, they will lose everything there. But the English crawling ahead on villagers with that double TC on that boar. Will secure some stone with that as well. And it looks like he's just slowly going up, doing a farm transition, has quite a bit of excess wood. And I would like to see some more farms coming out, start securing some of that stuff so you don't have to leave. Yeah, and I like to see Jabar kind of hit castle as well to kind of contest some of what the Ottomans are going to do. Otherwise, I feel like the Ottomans with this fast castle into a slower build-up is going to kind of stomp over him. Plunk! Do that noise. Just slapping him.
Now, I do think, because I want to elaborate on something Mark said in chat too, which was good, is these mass mangonels, although they're going to take a little bit of time to actually develop, we know the MRA makes them with a longer train time, but they are for free. There's going to be a point where Jabar's using a lot of food eco to, you know, produce his villagers and do his thing, not doing much in the way of military production, and he's going to be doing his farm transition also on the back end. It's going to create a little timing attack that Farsite can make. When Jabar actually hits castle, maybe he has enough units, maybe he has enough siege to make it so Jabar doesn't get the payoff of the second TC because of all the idle time that happens as a result.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have a couple spearmen coming out. They are upgraded to the feudal age. Another Vizier point coming in. Ding dong. Yeah, and does have the ranged damage and ranged armor coming out. Now, you don't see any... we know that he has a couple archers, but Mangonel isn't going to really be thwarted by the iron undermesh. But maybe he thinks that, you know, there's going to be a bunch of archers coming out for Castle Age stuff for the Ottomans. Picking up some relics. Got those imams. I believe he chose the imam point. No place to put the relic, though. Oh, no, I guess he built the mosque, so... does have one. Another one coming out. Kind of camping on this middle spot. Maybe going to send a guy to capture that sacred site. Something I don't see a lot of people do unless you are the Delhi is start taking these sacred sites. That one close to your home is just kind of free gold that you could just be getting.
Yeah, I certainly agree. But that little bit of gold trickle is going to help you, especially because of the units you're pumping out, right? You're pumping out knights to take gold. Maybe you could take some of your villagers off of gold, put them somewhere else because of these relics and the sacred site that you can get. This middle sacred site here in the middle of the basin too is free reign because English, because of what they're doing, and putting up King's Palace, also going up to Castle Age, it's about 40% done. They kind of forfeit map control when they do this, so you might as well take advantage of it while you got it.
Oh, absolutely. Villagers coming out. They're all rallied onto the wood here. We got the King's Palace coming up right next to the original TC. You know, maybe something that might come into play later is this is going to be pretty easy landmark sniping with those two there and the Council Hall up on the hill. There isn't a lot of... Not that you tend to do that, but there isn't currently a lot of diversity in placement. So, like, if this was the King's Palace, you know, you'd be a little spread out. But is on 3 TCs, is going to be up 8 villagers so far, and has some archers and some spearmen. And is going to be able to get those upgrades and kind of match some of that army at this point with some of those Castle Age units.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Jabar is that those upgrades do take some time. Right when he's doing that, and for Farsite, there's a lot of units here. I mean, he's making some knights. He's got a good siege advantage because of the mangonels that are popping out. I'd really love to see these knights really do something. They don't do much good just sitting in the middle of an uncaptured sacred site. You could take them around to raid. You know, take a look, try to kill a villager to make it so that English 3 TC boom gets slowed down just that little bit more, create some idle time.
He even has a scout on the backside for that too, yeah. So he could like definitely just like swing around. I don't know if he knows this is... Yeah, he knows this is here, I think. Yeah, I think his scout definitely saw this. At any rate, I like the little pathway. That's kind of cool. I don't know if that's like super normal or what, but it like leads over to the tower. I don't know what that's about, but it's kind of neat. Yeah, so pile of units here is moving up to this north side. I like how he's building his towers in the stealth forest, not only to give him vision and extend that network bonus to where basically he has from here to here, down across here with this tower. It kind of covers this middle spot. So he has kind of his whole base covered in that bonus, is going to have really strong vision of any incoming attacks, and is grabbing some relics of his own. But it looks like it's going to be 4 relics to 1. Is kind of what it's looking like. Is getting pushed back a little bit. Jabar needs to be careful, though, because this fight isn't going to be looking super good for him. The Mangonel fires off. Both of them miss. Archers do kill 1, though. And he sees the mass, including the siege, and says, no, thank you. You have a nice day. I'm going to go home.
And what does that signal for Farsite? Right?
Yeah.
Like, he sees some retreating army that's going on, and this is probably most of his army, knowing that Jabar did his castle age with his TCs and all that kind of stuff. Might mean an ability for Farsite to take advantage and try to get some unit kills here.
Yeah, is bringing out villagers. Be curious on what they're doing out here, because it's not nearly enough for a stone mine, or for a keep. But maybe thinking about doing stone on here. 5 villagers sit in this pile. Maybe a misclick. Maybe a plan. We'll have to see what that turns into. On this top side, this wolf is getting a taste of the T's and P's, as it were. Moving them forward, looking to contest some of this. The spearman archer seems to be the plan. Spearman longbowman, rather. Into knight archer, crossbowman, meter, kind of a mix of everything, and it seems to be a misclick, so no funky plans. And is going to be pushing forward, which I like. I mean, you saw the army, he ran with it, which means he obviously isn't feeling super comfortable about what he has going on. Castle Age coming in for those horsemen, hoping to maybe try and snipe out some of those mangonels on the backside, but you're going to be hard-pressed to do that with what is going on right here. MVP Wolf, exactly, Moke, exactly. Moving those forward, though, a little risky. Got a huge shot off, though. Oh, my word. Caught him sleeping, and that really seals the deal here. Spearmen take good damage from those as well, and he's going to have to just leave. Can't take any of this fight. Knight's going to get onto the guys. Good micro, but the Archer's going to make short work of those very low health.
We saw how important that siege advantage was. Getting that MIA, going for fast castle, really with the payoff here, and especially getting that shot. Jabar not paying attention, probably looking somewhere else. Because you don't have that attack siren ringing in your ear, maybe he didn't know the mangonels were going to be up there, and he's going to pay for it for probably the game. It looks like. It feels that way, right? Even with the 3 TCs, maybe he was idle on some of them. Currently is idle on a little bit of them. Floating a bunch of food. But, yeah, he, like you said, it just takes a moment of looking away without a scout, whistling in your ear, or without the bells of hope ringing in your ears. You're not necessarily going to know. He's going to die for it. But yeah, you're not going to know, and you'll notice as soon as they goes, it sends the attack alert, but at that point, they've already done their damage. And yeah, is going to take the fight, is going to start killing production. No military, literally to speak of at all, and villagers moving up to the north. Eco units in favor of Farsite now, and it's looking really, really good for him. And I saw out of that English barrage from Jabar, a Vanguard men-at-arms came out and instantly got slaughtered. He's just a poor boy. He's not upgraded yet. And they
He's just a poor boy.
Just to end its life. A couple Springholds back here at Farsite too, making sure if they're already Springholds, which one from Jabar gets picked up, he'll be able to get sniped out pretty easily.
Yeah.
Now, this is a point where he's doing a good job with this Castle Age. There's a good point. Horseman in the flank actually going to take out one of those. Mangonel doesn't get anything else. This is when you keep somebody's face, just so you know.
Yes, this is when you would keep their face. That Springhold doing the work, though, was able to clear out all the enemy siege with those horsemen sneaking around the back, and that kind of slows Farsite down, although you wonder if he couldn't just run knights onto the back of the farms. As we mentioned before, you have this scout back here. Obviously, this isn't like, professional play, so maybe you forgot about it or just aren't paying much attention. But scout around, see where they're getting gold from, and then you'll notice that, okay, well, they're not on their tree line anymore. They're not on this tree line, so let's run this scout. I know he's not here. Let's check here, and see what's happening. Because you see this pile of 19 villagers, that closes the game out. But yeah, I mean, getting them off the farms does essentially the same thing, but it's quite a bit more dangerous to come into here and do that. But yeah, so we'll see. Going in now with the Knights. Gonna idle. Even if you don't get a lot of kills, idling that food eco. I mean, he's sitting on 2,300, but idling at any rate is still good. Enemy Knight's gonna die rather quickly to the swarm of Knights from Farsite. Springald in placement doesn't have the fortify quite yet, so that'll die pretty quick. And it looks like he's gonna lose the second TC position as well. And Jabroni is gonna have a real hard time kind of stabilizing this game.
Yeah, especially because all his production's in front. Right, we saw a couple barracks go down, the siege workshop is there, the stable is there. He's adding some barracks in the back. Probably going to try to go for some kind of spearman, which isn't going to help him. He goes for... See, the thing of it is, he's making a bunch of knights out of the stables that he has. Knights are super expensive, and half of his eco is idle. Although he has a lot of food in the background, just because probably a little bit of a macro error starts to be a saving grace, and because of how many farms he has. But if Farsite... it just continues pressure, you know, there's never going to be a mass big enough.
Yeah.
And actually, because Farsite is Imperial, he could Seagate Castle the front of English's base, chooses to not do that, goes in the back of his instead.
Yeah, acts as a keep, increases trade, maybe thinking long term, you know, if this stalls out or something, maybe he can get some trade going. But yeah, you know, pretty good for trade once you get it. They get armor. But increases both their armors by 10 plus 40% movement speed, so it's pretty good. One could argue that maybe more units and more production would have been the better choice to just end the game, but is choosing to go up to Imperial, and feels comfortable backing off and letting Jabroni breathe for just a little bit until he can get some more siege. On this north side, about 14 of them on gold. One monk does tick over. Would love to start seeing some of those Imperial upgrades coming in for those archers and knights. Is building 3 markets. Tim, it's gonna be a long one.
Okay, so this is why I'm not pleased. We have a big ransack of your opponent's base. Right, and you know you have a military advantage going in. And this is one of the things that I see low ELO players do, is they've done some damage, they see one thing they don't like, and then they end up backing up. Yeah. And I get it, you're trying not to lose the game, and you're thinking about, you know, what could possibly make me lose if I got rid of this army. But, based on Farsite's situation and what you could see, having those knights in, there was no way to lose. And you're letting Jabar mass back up into this little fight that probably shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you still win the fight heavily. I mean, the Knight Elite upgrade is going to be coming through, but your unit mass just didn't matter. And now you're, you know, 49 to 13, 49 to 10. That wolf's already alive on level 10. Yes, Gandalf, that is true. Well, yeah, is going to be able to just burn this down, especially with the Imperial upgrade coming in. I mean, you could just storm through the base, right? There's nothing that can stop you at this point with this many Imperial Knights plus archers to back them up. It does beg the question when where he plans on trading. I guess it's down to this other corner, which is interesting. Yeah, nice golden armor coming through. What else pinging me back there?
Yeah, I've never actually seen an Ottoman Elite Knight before.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
So it's pretty cool to see it. I mean, obviously, Castellate Spearmen vastly outnumbered, not really going to matter too much. The Imams with the AoE heal are just a fantastic entity for the Ottomans. Now that he has the mosque, because he put all the relics down, he can just continually pump them if he wants to, and just have that spam AoE healing that makes sure this town center fire doesn't do anything. So he's going to be able to endlessly raid and endlessly create idle time, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, and it just kind of seals the deal. 13 idle with 3 TCs. Farsite is still up on villagers. We're going to check in on our friend here. Oh, man. I checked in at the wrong time. I apologize, everybody. That was brutal. Yeah, just has him parked here on the backside. Has the elite upgrade in for the crossbowman. I imagine the archer one will be coming in shortly. I need a face keep. Yeah, Face keep would be super good. Doesn't have the stone for it, Tim. I do apologize for that.
Right. Did have the Seagate Castle though. Would have been pretty good.
Yeah. And it would have been stylish too.
Oh yeah. Plus, for how good the Seagate Castle looks, like that's the definition of a power move, honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty. I mean even from all angles, it's pretty cool. At any rate, stacking up more guys. Got more of those Springolds. Springolds going to be taking some sniper shots at the villager. And now Farsite is ahead. A huge number of villagers. Show me Big Mama. Where's Big Mama? I don't know where Big Mama's at. Wololo coming in. Yeah, I don't think we have a big bad Giga Cannon quite coming out yet. Could be, but it is not.
I did take a look at some of these trade routes that the Ottomans are getting, and they're 159 gold. It looks
Dude,
like he's
look
going
at him hauling ass, though. Look at that guy. They're zooming.
Yeah, they're pretty quick. One might argue, and actually, because of that excess gold that he's getting with 2,500 a minute,
yeah,
you want to see it transition to that military production. That's why you get eco in the first place, right?
Yeah.
If you can.
I also had it on +2 times on accident.
That's okay. If you can pop cap yourself and end up getting there, now it's really slow.
What is happening? Hold on, everybody. This is fine.
Caleb is ruining my vibe, everybody. But vibe check. Yeah, I mean, again, we're just kind of commentating over the same thing, right? We have, a stack of elite knights on the town center, and I completely understand the fact that this is the semifinals, and this is a best of one. If you are out, you are out of this tournament that you worked so hard for through the Swiss round. So I understand why he would want to take all the time that he can to try to win. But we have all 3 landmarks in the English base, and it looks like that hometown center going to go down. King's Palace right next to it, which is rather flimsy. 2,500 health, held up with paper clips and bubble gum, so that'll go down pretty quickly.
Can we talk about something real quick?
Yeah.
While you narrate this, why does the King's Palace have 2,500 health, but the landmark for the Malians has 5,000 as a tower?
I think it's because the game devs hate me. And because I see another Mali give up a scream. And now all of these villagers not even going back to the King's Palace. I think Jabroni knows it's kind of over, and he taps out.
Yeah, I mean, that game was over quite a while ago. It was delayed arguably longer than it needed to be. But yeah, good plays. Good little walls from